So we're on air. Check if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
No.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Welcome, Kenyans, to the Journeys for Justice and Remember Kenya Google Hangout. I'm joined by Sarah, Malia, Mudhoni, and Kenneth Jura. So we're here at the Louis Leakey Auditorium at the National Museum of Kenya in Nairobi, and we're participating in an event to memorialize and commemorate and remind ourselves of the events of 2008. What do you remember from 2008? What was the most important thing that happened in that year? The Remember event is also an occasion to celebrate our local artists who have presented several artifacts for this occasion. So I'll go straight to Sarah.
And I'm back.
Sarah, can you hear us? Hi, Sarah.
Hi, is it me, Sarah? We're two Sarahs. Hey.
Sarah, could you show us some of the work that is being set up at the Louis Leakey Auditorium?
Yes, I'm coming to it now. So this is the beginning of the exhibition. And basically this briefly explains what the exhibition is about. As you've mentioned before, the exhibition explores the victims of the post-election violence. Those 1,000 who were killed, the 500,000 that were displaced, also families and people that are still suffering as a consequence. So here, you've got some photography which clearly depicts the post-election violence itself. They're quite graphic, and I think they're clearly, most of them were taken in the low-income slum areas of Nairobi.
Oh, okay.
One of our challenges is network.
Some pictures are quite graphic, so maybe I should have put on a disclaimer.
Guys,
So that's an overview of the photography that here depicts. Apart from photography, there's also some innovative art ranging from abstract to installation pieces, such as this one.
these are some of the ashes that will be there for today's event. These are part of the team.
Who's what are we talking to?
Yeah,
guys.
part of the team will remember. The artwork is still being put up. So new. So yeah. This is one of the artists, Tabitha Waduku. She's there. Say hi. Thanks. We'll come back to you.
Thanks, Ken. Could we go to Mudhani? Mudhani, where are you? Wow, you guys are really moving around. Who is that?
Who are you speaking to?
The number of sculptures here. Hi. The number of sculptures here. Time to look at it, digest it. Any questions so far? Give me a tip. Any questions so far?
Final brief being given out. Some of the answers as well.
Yes.
There they are.
At every station, one welcoming, walking through another one taking the selection, dealing with the next one. That's why
Your cup. So it's on now.
So I'm just going to talk to Ken for a little bit. Ken, could you tell us a bit about the Remember Project? What's this about?
Basically, we remember what really took place in 2007 and 2008, and therefore, what really took place in this particular country, those people who were actually killed, and the displaced people, were simply trying to give an artistic tribute to those who died during that particular time. And therefore, that's why we are having this event today, remember. Yes.
Okay, and do you have any of the event organizers with you there? Maybe they could share a bit of insight on this.
Yes, I do have one of the event organizers, and his name is Bramwell. He'd be able to give us a brief overview of what the whole project was all about. Here he is. Yes, here he is. Hi.
Hi, Brian.
This is Bramwell.
Oh, Bramwell.
Yes. Hi.
Hi, so Bramwell, could you tell us a bit about the Remember Project? What was the original concept and who's supporting this initiative?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I was asking, could you tell us about your initial concept and who's supporting this initiative?
Well, we've been supported in many ways when it comes to organizing this particular project. And for some people, it's been financial support. For others, it's been support in kind. I don't know if that helps.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that last bit.
I said I don't know if that helps. We've been supported by many people when we're putting this event together. By open society, by different centers where they like facilitate or house artists. Corner, Power 254, and different other places have all either let us use their art or engage with their artists to be able to pull this particular day off.
That sounds very good. Could you tell us just a few of the ways in which Power 254 participated in this? As well as Open Society Initiative East Africa. In what way were you receiving support from these particular organizations? And who else would you like to send a shout out and a thank you to?
Okay, firstly, even before I thank the people who facilitated us with any kind of funds, I'd really love to thank the artists, because the only reason this day is happening is because the artists came out in numbers and they gave us the art and they made pieces, and it's because the artists remember that we're here today. Um, for Power 254, it's a creative space that is really focused on social change, and that to a large extent is where their help came from, because they are incubators or homes for some of the artists. There's a group of filmmakers called Lightbox, and they are based at Power, and a couple other photographers were based at Power. Some of the pictures from the Mtani initiative were sourced also through Power, because the pictures taken by one responding, and it's been a platform where we could meet and engage with a lot of artists who are taking part in this project. For Open Society, um, they, they helped, or they actually they helped with a bit of funding so that we can get this project off the ground. I think they support initiatives that bring people together to affect their society when it comes to issues of governance and whatnot. So they were a big supporter in terms of finances, and for that we are eternally grateful.
Brahma, could you tell me some of the ideas that you feel on a personal level have come out in the right manner through this project? What was your personal sort of inspiration to be part of this project?
Sometime in 2013, um, a group of individuals, including myself, made two shorts. One called Witness and another called Testify. And this particular short was showcased at the ICC. And the Kenyan population, the local population, never actually got a chance to see any of those shorts. And um, we felt to some extent that it was a bit unfortunate that something that is made about Kenya for Kenyans, about a very dark time in our history, was only being showcased outside the country. And we felt that we needed to have stuff that is done here locally, so that as Kenyans we can remember and hopefully stop such a thing from happening again. So realizing that it was not enough for just one group of individuals to come up with something, we tried to pull a lot of individuals together and said, let us as artists, let us remember, because our country has been scarred and it runs the risk of getting scarred again unless we can collectively remember and take active steps to ensure it doesn't happen again. So that was our inspiration for this particular project.
Thank you. Bramwell, among the artists that are participating in this event, do you have artists who are directly or severely affected by the violence that occurred in 2008 after the elections?
There's one particular artist, I forget her first name, but her last name is Kimundu. She
Deborah
worked on
Kimundu.
yes, she worked on a short film called Plant Forest, and she worked on a documentary, or I think it's probably called I Want to Come Home, or Give Me Back My Home. And she was one of the people who were affected because the area where she lives in since 1992 has had conflicts, your tribal clashes, and every time there was an election, they used to be moved away from their home, their houses. So one of her films, actually both of her films, those two particular films, are being showcased here today, and she'll be around to speak about her own personal experience.
How do you feel as a young person in Kenya? How do you feel the sort of tribalism that occurs in this country? How does it affect you, and how does it affect the way you're growing up? We seem to have a different perspective because we live in Nairobi, and this is a cosmopolitan sort of place compared to other parts of the country. I'll tell you why I'm asking this. Recently, spent some time traveling across Kenya, and I can tell you that there are parts of the country where when we talk about ethnic cleansing, that is exactly what has happened due to systematic political and instigated clashes. There are certain parts of the country where you will not find other ethnicities. You will only find certain ethnicities, certain ethnic groups that live there, and everyone else has been chased away. So, how do you feel, Bramwell, as a Kenyan growing up in Nairobi? How does all this sort of tribal animosity affect you?
Um, the funny thing is, growing up in Nairobi, I really didn't know what tribe my friends were up until
Mm.
much later in my life, when I was about maybe 15 or 16. But having said that, I think the reason why it's very different in Nairobi and other places is because of, I think, the level of integration. It's when you live next door, side by side with an individual who is of a different tribe, who has a different culture, and you realize that they are just the same. You're similar in more ways than you are different. Then it becomes very easy for you to look at that person as your brother, as opposed to areas where maybe to some extent the only people you interact with your entire life are people who are from your same ethnic group. And so when somebody says or speaks ill of another person in society or somebody from a different ethnic group, you really don't have a basis for you to say that's right or that's wrong. And in most cases, you take them at their word. But going back to the whole issue of how is what my take is on tribalism right now, I think having different tribes is a good thing. I think the whole diversity that we have in society is very good. But I think we are missing the point when we fail to talk about the fact that there are different tribes, and it is okay for me and you and everybody else who's taking part in this hangout to come from different parts of the world, come from different parts of the country, and that does not make us enemies. If anything, we can feed off each other and we can learn off each other. So that's my take.
Okay, thank you very much, Bramwell. I want to talk to Sarah for a little bit. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Sarah, could you tell me how this particular project interested you? And are you
It was,
Kenyan?
no, I'm not Kenyan.
Okay.
I'm actually from a small island from Malta, but I've been coming to Kenya for the past 5 years now, and I think 4 years actually. The first time I came was when the new constitution came through. I feel that I came back here specifically because I decided that I wanted to come and live here, and I feel very close to Kenya, and obviously I watched while the violence was happening, and I've been coming here for the past 4 years. So I think this project is extremely important. I myself studied. I did a master's in forced migration in East Africa, and I focused particularly on displacement in Kenya. And as Bram was saying, I think that a project like this, an exhibition like this, is extremely important, as we need people to remember, and we need people to deal with issues that cause displacement. May they be socio-economic and also political issues. Therefore, we need to speak about it. It's scary if people ignore this issue and it's under the carpet, I feel that things might explode once again. Yeah. So I think that people speaking through art and through artistic expression is one of the best ways to reach people, reach people from different ethnicities, different backgrounds, and also different countries as well.
So, there's a lot more going on though.
Pardon?
Just that.
Hello?
Auditorium.
No worries.
Did you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I was just asking, do you feel that the public will respond positively towards the Remember project? There's a lot more going on than just art though. There are going to be performances, there's going to be films being showed.
Yes.
Do you feel that the public will respond positively to the sort of presentations we are making here?
Yeah, I feel that they will. I think people, I think people are quite scared to speak about it, and sometimes people do get angry, and people kind of question, why are you bringing up the past? Why are you bringing up parts of our history that people would like to forget? However, you know what the positive thing about art is? I feel that people aren't talking about it directly. What art makes you see it and envision what you want from your own perspective. Everything here is quite subjective. There's no dictating, and I think people will react quite positively because, like I said, people will see it in their own way, and people will remember the post-election violence in their own way. I think it's a way to make people react and think about it non-violently. And it's not, and also I don't think people will feel particularly attacked by the arts. And from what I've seen, from the productions that I've seen, it's quite a subtle way of telling people just to remember and telling people to think about what happened. So I think people will react quite positively to it, I think. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. Some of the concerns I have is in remembering victims or survivors of sexual violence, sexual and gender-based violence. And I was wondering if it's possible for you to point out maybe an art that you feel would speak to that sort of survivor or that sort of scenario.
I'm sorry, Betty, can you repeat? I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. I was asking, do you feel that there are pieces, these artworks that could speak to the remembrance of survivors of sexual violence?
Okay, maybe I could pass you on to Ken because I feel that he might answer that question better than I could, as he was one of the people responsible for coordinating. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yes, Betty.
Yes, Ken. I was asking, do you have pieces, artwork that speaks to the survivors of sexual violence?
There is that piece of art that you had shown by Sarah about the installation. Maybe we'll go back and so that she can be able to show it to you.
Okay.
Right?
If you could, you'd have to be steady this time because we didn't.
I will. Sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, Sarah is going there.
Yeah. But
and just
Ken, in the
meantime.
meantime. Okay. In the meantime, while Sarah is going there, Ken, could you tell me, like, what are your thoughts on remembering survivors of sexual violence? And this is not just from 2008, but sexual violence in general.
Sexual violence, first of all, I would be able to say it's something that is not good, right? And therefore, there's so many atrocities that has actually taken place based on gender violence. It might not necessarily simply be about atrocities that do take place from the home. But even whenever there are suits, whenever there's some level of instability, the people who are most vulnerable are women. And therefore, I'm keenly following the case that is ongoing, the SGBV case against post survivors of post-election violence, which I really feel should be brought to book.
Okay.
Yes, Betty.
Ken, let me ask you, in terms of sexual violence, what do you normally think of when you hear sexual and gender-based violence? Do you normally think of men being victims of such violence? It's normally women, right? But
It's
the
normally
truth is,
women.
yeah, but also men do suffer sexual violence. Is there a way
Very
that,
true.
in your view,
Yes.
is there a way that we can honestly approach and discuss that, um, and create a forum for people to be candid about this happening to men as well?
Okay. First of all, I'll be able to give an input and start saying that, first of all, in most cases, the victim is usually thought to be the one who is on the wrong in the first place, right? And from the men's side, it's not usually so easy to speak it out because of either the ego or the masculinity that they think they have, and then therefore they feel once they come out and start saying of what really took place, it's some sort of trying to diminish them as men. One, that is on one end, right? On the other is some of the most important ways of really trying to bring such a case into talk about is to, wow, is to first of all talk about it openly and not have any level of prejudices whatsoever.
Okay. In your view,
Yes.
there's a lot of victim blaming.
Yeah.
Sex is uh, um, a
Sex is some
taboo
sort of,
topic already.
yes,
And then
yes.
when you have male victims of sexual violence, it becomes even worse. But Ken, from the 2008 election, post-election violence, there were men who were subjected to forcible circumcisions, genital mutilations, and other, demeaning acts. Just because they weren't necessarily, violated in a sexual manner, but they were circumcised by force. Can we talk about that then?
Hi Betty. Unfortunately, we've lost we've lost Ken.
Oh.
His computer has failed, but he's going back to recharge it.
Okay. Okay.
So maybe we can keep that question on hold. I
All
was
right.
wondering if you'd like maybe to go through some of the art again, since
Oh,
it
sure,
wasn't
sure.
so steady earlier. What do you think about
Okay.
that? Okay.
That's a good idea.
So, yeah. So before, and let me know if I'm not steady as well. That would be good.
Right.
Before, we were talking about violence, and can you see that is a piece
Okay.
done by one
Can
of
see
the
that.
artists? You can't see.
We can see it. Yes.
Yes. So obviously, this is the impression of one of the artists, of someone who was killed in the violence. So I'll move on here. Hapa wanaonyesha unaona before the violence and all, there was a state of peace, right? Then after the elections, kulikuwa na hiyo state of violence and all, people were fighting and stuff. And then afterwards, when we chose to have peace as a nation, this is a representation of the peace that Kenyans chose to have.
Hi, Sarah. Could you speak to that lady? Is that one of the
Yes,
artists?
I could.
Yeah.
No, she's one of the officiators, but she's trying to describe the piece itself, and I could engage her as well.
Yes, could you
I could give you I could show paintings and maybe ask her to explain the piece. Yes. So let me just show you the picture first, the painting. Meanwhile. Sorry?
Yeah, can see the
Do you
painting.
think you can come and explain this piece to the Google Hangout?
She is talking. Did we lose Sarah?
Hello?
Oh, she's back.
Hi, can
Hello.
you hear me? Hi, I'm here.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay, so
Okay.
this, as she was explaining, is a painting which shows the aftermath of the post-election violence and represents the peace that came after the post-election violence. Moving along, I think this is one of my favorite pieces. Hi! I'll try to go back to give you a bit of a... I think this is definitely one of my favorite pieces, the whole thing.
And what,
It shows is the way people, what it shows is the way that I think a number of people are living within Nairobi and other parts of Kenya, particularly low-income slum areas. And I think it just shows the marginalized and low-income areas, which signified as well to the see also at the moment relation happening at the moment, which is a graffiti installation. I could take you there quickly and we can have a bit of a chat maybe with the graffiti artists themselves who have been a part of this project for a few weeks now.
Okay, that sounds very good. Meanwhile, we will look for Ken.
Google Hangout. So this is one of our graffiti artists. I don't know, would you like to speak a little bit about why you're involved and what these pieces represent to you?
I'm an artist first, and I believe we are on art for a reason. So one of which is the most, I think the most biggest reason is just to leave the world a better place than we found it. And I use my art to try and achieve that. So I do a lot of social commentary, which has led me to street art and public art. That's where I express my views, my opinions, my ideas. I share them with the whole public because at the street, anybody can access my artworks without any limitations. It's not like a gallery where it's kind of elitist, and probably some people have to travel, get there, and maybe when they get there, they have to pay for it. So mine is just using my art form to communicate, and most of to the general public who okay, my art is meant for the general public and not a specific elitist group per se. So that's why I'm doing this piece. Probably after it's done, you'll come and see, and I'll probably talk a lot more about it when it's done. It will make a lot of sense. Thanks.
Hi, Betty.
Hi, thanks, Sarah. That is very good. And so we do have
so I'm moving on to another piece.
Okay.
No problem.
I can see he's doing the graffiti artwork behind you. Could you show us something else as well?
Yes, he is. I'll move back a little bit so you can get. Yes, of course. Had you seen the pictures that I had shown at the beginning? The ones taken by Boniface and Mwangi.
Yes, we saw those.
It's okay. Else? Okay. Okay. So now we're in the interior part, and I have Linda next to me, who is one a little bit more about the art, which is in this section that we're standing in at the moment.
We have some very, very beautiful pieces from different.
Did they hang out? We'll just give them a few minutes and they'll be back.
Different artistic elements on it, but it's awesome. Have you seen the other pieces?
I'm showing them now
Ah,
on the Google Hangout.
cool. Have fun. Bye.
Hi, Linda. Can you see us and hear us?
Yes, so that was Linda, and she's one of the main organizers of this.
Could you get her back? Because
So
I
here are
think it
some more
broke up too much.
pictures. Hi, Linda's gone. Hi, it's there again.
Okay, could you get Linda back? Bring her back.
They've asked for you back. Yes. She's next to me. They broke off a little bit.
I'm in such high demand.
You are.
Yes. So what am I?
You're
So,
listening.
hi,
Can you
Linda.
wait some time?
Yes.
Can you hear?
Good.
Linda, could you tell us? Could you tell
Now I
us what
can
inspired
hear
you to
Yes.
this event?
Um, of course, during the period which happened 7 years ago, one of the things that we noticed, years have come and gone, and no one seems to have remembered. And I mean, in our culture, if you have someone, your neighbor, or you've lost someone, you take some time to say sorry, you take some time to stay with them. So we thought, as artists, what can we do that's different? Because everyone who is anyone has said something, so artists had to say something. Because our art was sitting in storage, not doing anything, we thought, why not do this where we have ourselves expressing what we felt, but in the same time saying sorry for those who are lost and remembering who were lost. So yeah, that's basically what inspired the event.
What would you tell the public as they're coming for this event? What should they bring with them? And how should they prepare themselves?
I think one with all their cousins and enemies, ready to experience really deep emotions, both positive and negative. We have awesome art, and we are also going to have very thought-provoking pieces, performances in the evening. And one of the things that's going to happen, I feel, after as you go through the process, is that you will end up asking, you'll end up thinking a lot, to be ready to experience their emotions, because that's the part.
Well, we have a problem with the stability of the network that Sarah is using. We will give her a few minutes and then she'll be back. In the meantime, let's talk about what you remember. What do you remember from 2008? Oh, they're back. So, Linda, we lost you for a bit back then. Do you
What do
mind
I remember?
Yes. Do you mind repeating what you just said? We lost you for a bit.
Oh yeah, that. Guys, one should be ready to be wowed. Number two, they should come with open hearts, open minds, because a lot of these pieces are very thought-provoking, and they call to your heart, they call to your emotions. So I'm sure by the end of the night, once you've gone through the visual and performances, one will end up having to reflect a lot. There'll be a lot of time for reflection. Even as we point towards hope, there'll be moments where one thinks back and remembers what happened to them at that particular time. So we're just asking, as guys come over, come with your friends, your enemies, your cousins.
Okay. So, let's go back to Sarah for a bit.
Hi, Betty. Betty.
Hi.
Hi.
Sarah,
Linda had to leave
is
us.
there anything
Yeah.
else? Yes, it's no problem. Do you have any other artwork that you would like to share with us that you feel really brings out the events of
Yeah.
2008?
Yes. There's one more piece that I would actually like to show you. It's a pity that there aren't placards with the artist's name, but I'll show you here. So I'll take you one by one, and basically what you can see here are masks. And I guess an idea of a mask could fit quite well within the context of post-election violence. People may be putting on certain masks, and maybe people becoming people that they didn't think they would have been. People maybe that were involved in the violence, people that were affected by it. So yes, that's another piece I'd like to show you. Also, there's some love. And this is by Erica Mundi.
It's now turning into a beehive of
Other
activity.
pieces there. Yes, it is. In fact, we have, I think a number of different schools have attended as well. So that's where we were before. So I was kind of pushed out because there's a large group of children who have come to see. Some more pieces of art that I don't think I showed you earlier. Also, I don't know if you'd like to speak to some of the spectators eventually, and I could find some
If you
people
could find
who
one or two
maybe
people
could
who can tell us what they think.
perspective on the art, people from outside. I think definitely just come. I'll show you these other sculptures as well. There's quite a diversity. Yes, and I could definitely find you someone who can speak to you. Ryan, do you think you would be willing to give your opinion on the art you've seen today? Hi, this is Brian.
Hi.
Hi,
I can
Brian.
give you the headphones, and maybe you could speak to them a little bit on what you see in the different art that is being portrayed today.
It's fine, I guess.
Let's put this on.
Hi.
Hi, Brian. Can you hear me?
Okay, just speak.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Hi.
great. Brian, what do you think of the art you've seen so far?
Well, basically, my mind is blown. Have you seen Robo Chicken over here?
I showed them Robot Chicken earlier.
You saw Robo Chicken, okay. Okay, my mind is blown. I really didn't think, I thought there would just be an exhibition of photos from the post-election violence, so I expected the mood to be somber, you know. But actually, there's a lot of art that is elevating and bright. Yeah, so that's been the surprise for me.
What do you remember from 2008 that can make you feel that this art connects you to that particular moment?
Really, I was in Mombasa at the time when the violence was happening. So before I saw the photos, particularly Boniface Mwangi's photos, because of so much of what was on TV that time was censored, I didn't really get the full measure of what had happened. You know, you hear the cold facts about the violence, 1,300 dead, hundreds of thousands displaced. But when you see the images, then you start to understand. Right now, I just saw a severed hand there, and I was just, thinking, okay, who did this belong to? Was this deliberate? Did they, and then so many questions come into your mind. It takes you right back to that time, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. And did you also feel, like you mentioned, that some of the artwork is very bright? Do you feel that there
Yeah.
is a bright future if we keep doing such events in
Yeah, there
remembering?
is.
In
I
remembering, do you
think,
feel that?
yeah, I
Sorry,
think I
please
think
go
it's
ahead.
important to remember. I'm sure it's a terrible cliche, but you can't go forward if you don't understand your past. And so many people are saying, we've reconciled, so let's forget the past and go forward. But that's been our MO since since independence. Like our independence hero didn't matter, so we go forward. After the coup, all this didn't matter. After every catastrophe, we tend to forget, even Westgate, I dare put that in. So if we could be reminded of this, because political stuff is actually one of our biggest problems right now. We're going to be having elections, and if every time it's going to be a zero-sum game where some people are going to be winning and some people are losing, I see the possibility of violence in every election that we have. So if we remember how much we lost in 2007, I think the possibility of it happening again, if not it being completely impossible, then we could at least reduce it to some extent. Hey
Brian,
Betty, it was nice talking to you. Yeah?
okay, thank
Hi.
you. Thank you, Brian. Oh,
Okay, if you have
can
another
I
question,
ask
you
you
can ask me.
one last
Okay,
question? One
it's
last
fine, it's
question.
fine.
Okay. Brian, do you feel that the way we conduct our elections is detrimental to our society as in general? We do have a winner-take-all policy in terms of
Yeah.
if as long as you get to that 50% plus one, then whoever wins wins everything. Do you feel that that way we're not really having a democratic process in Kenya?
You know, I think it's Churchill who said democracy is the best form of government, is the worst form of government, except, except that it's the best. It's right now, I call Kenya an experiment. We're with every election, we're working out the patterns of a working and functioning democracy. If sorry, the battery here. If more Kenyans, if Kenyans continue to put such a premium on who wins the election, then we can never have an election that will be, let's say, emotive, as less emotive as the previous one. People need to people need to realize that right now, because we have devolution, especially power has been decentralized to the extent that the presidency doesn't matter as much as it used to in the past. So right now the stakes are not as high as they used to, but the fact of having your guy at the top is still important to some people, and I think that's what we need to really get rid of.
Okay, thank you, Brian. I really appreciate your participating in this hangout, and definitely we are going to follow you on Twitter.
Betty Waitherero? Oh, this is Betty Waitherero.
Yes.
Okay, big fan, man. Big fan.
Okay, great. Brian, you'll give me a handle. I follow you now.
My name is Obara Brian.
Obara Brian.
Yeah, my avatar is Obey. I think Andre the Giant. That's my avatar. Anyway, nice talking to you, Betty.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, but
thank you. Really
I should say you're a true talent and keep writing.
Thank you. So, Sarah, are you still there? I think we have about 5 minutes left.
Okay. Would you like to speak to anyone else in particular?
No, but we do just have about 5 minutes left. Do you have any last words that you think you want to give out?
Please come to the event. Like I said, this evening there will be theatre performances. There is going to be a screening of Something Necessary by there's also going to be, I think, 3 short movies that are going to be screened. Obviously, all of the screenings and all of the movies are under the theme of post-election violence. Yes, it's going to be a fantastic day. It's already picking up as we speak. And there's going to be so much more going on during the day and this evening. We also have a children's corner, so come with your kids. Yes, and I think that it's important that people can see what's going on. And I think it's important, and I think it's also positive that there are initiatives such as these going on of Kenyan civil society, film companies, artists, all coming together for this big event to try and remember for a better Kenya.
Thank you, Sarah. That was very lovely. I really appreciate this. And to all our viewers online and our Twitter followers, please find the time today to just drop by at the Louis Leakey Auditorium at the National Museums of Kenya in Nairobi and have a look at our exhibition. The entrance is absolutely free. Please come with your friends, your family, your children, and anyone you feel would be best place to just come and see what we're doing here and trying to remember the people we lost in 2008 and the events of 2008. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.